them up, they punched them, they kicked them, and they had to save their life by picking up their pistol from their pocket, firing in the air, and then escape from that place. Welcome to JNU. This particular section of Anti-India Brigade has been active for years and years now. Let me take you to year 2010. There were celebrations in JNU, but the same anti-national brigade present in JNU among teachers and students. I'm not saying all JNU is bad. JNU is a wonderful institute. Students are excellent in their high learning, but a section of Hate India Brigade consisting of teachers, consisting of students has been active there since long. Year 2010, celebrations going on in JNU. Why? They are celebrating the massacre of 76 CRPF Jawans who were massacred in Chhattisgarh by Naxalites. And they were hailing the Naxalites as today they hail Afzal Guru. In the same year, 22nd of October 2010, a convention of secessionist forces is organized in New Delhi. Who all are present? Kashmiri extremist elements, SAS Gilani, Naga leaders, Khalsa leaders who supported Khalistan, Arundhati Roy, who is known for her Hate India campaign. They all shared the dais there. What were they saying? They were saying, Azadi the only way. We want Azadi for Kashmir. We want Azadi from Bhukhe Nange Hindustan. Posters were there in JNU since long, and buses were filled at Ganga Dhaba, which is the focal rallying point at JNU. Students went in these buses, went to the venue to listen to these speakers. Thereafter, year after year, during Navratras, celebrations are there to celebrate Mahishasur Balidan Divas. And what all words are spoken for Durga Ma, I cannot speak from here. In the name of free speech, they call the secessionists from Kashmir, they call the Naxalites to address students there. They demonize USA. They call for elimination of Israel. They do not allow any dissent. I remember one more thing. 2015, a pornographic video was shot in JNU hostel. It was ostensibly for commercial purpose. And high-tech camera and high-tech equipment were used in that. When the JNU authority clamped down, swung into action and said, nothing doing, henceforth the girls will not be allowed in the JNU boys hostel, immediate protest was there. And to that extent, by the students in the name of liberal ethos, that the circular saying that the girls are not allowed in boys hostel had to be withdrawn. So for last so many years, the pattern has been such. This anti-national brigade in JNU has been mocking at the Indian state, had been daring the Indian state, had been challenging the Indian state that dare you touch us, dare you lay your hands upon us. The UPA government never acted. It has always been soft on terror. 9th of February 2016, the latest event was another such event. It was a habit for them to have such events year after year. Even Afzal Guru's Martyrdom Divas was being celebrated for last 3 years. This was the 3rd year. Nobody acted. This time we had the nationalist government at the center which acted. Let us know what exactly happened in JNU. When I say this, I say with full authority. I say because I live near JNU. I say because I'm in regular contact with students and teachers of JNU. I have been following JNU since 9th of February and since earlier times also. What happened? I'll take you one day before. 8th of February, the posters were all over JNU walls. that this was a cultural event. And may I read the wordings of the poster? Cultural event, protest march against judicial killing of Afzal Guru and massacre, and in solidarity with the Kashmiri people against the Indian state, in rage against the occupation of Kashmir. So poster said two things. Number one, against the judicial killing of Afzal Guru. Number two, for and against occupation of Kashmir by the Indian state. ABVP sprung into action. ABVP went to JNU administration, said this is not a cultural evening. You withdraw the permission. JNU authorities withdrew the permission, said you cannot hold this cultural evening. This is not a cultural evening. Despite that, on 9th of February, this evening was held. There were about 400 plus students over there, and let me state what slogans they said, because thereafter I will come to freedom of speech and sedition law, on which there is utter confusion everywhere. The slogans they said, will you understand in Hindi the slogans they said? Alright. First slogan in the first video, Kashmir ki azadi tak, Bharat ki barbadi tak, jang rahegi, jang rahegi. Second slogan, Bharat tere tukde honge, inshallah. The third slogan, Afzal hum sharminda hai, tere qatil ab tak zinda hai. Next, Pakistan zindabad. Then, kitne Afzal maroge, घर घर से अफजल निकलेगा. एंड लास्ट, अफजल तेरे अरमानों को हम मंजिल तक पहुंचाएंगे. These slogans are utter sedition according to law. Police immediately sprung into action, arrested Kanhaiya. Thereafter, it waited for the others to be arrested. Delhi police waited for 2 days outside JNU, waiting for Umar Khalid and Anirban to come outside, surrender. They went to High Court. High Court says, what is this? You aren't following any procedure. Go and surrender before the police. So having exhausted all legal remedies, they had to surrender before the police. Now, what people say is, they were simple students. They were indisciplined students. They were not seditious students. I am sorry. You and I have this confusion. The people living around JNU have no confusion. The law is not confused to this extent. First, let me talk about the people living around JNU. JNU is a plot of land. Outside there are several colonies. Munirka and other colonies are there. People living in those colonies, the landlords told JNU students, please vacate our houses. We cannot allow anti-nationals to come in our house and stay in our house. The grocers, the departmental stores, they stopped giving atta, dal, chawal to such people. They said, we cannot give you supplies for the food because a number of students are indulged in anti-national activities. They protested on the gates of JNU. Thereafter, now the question comes, were they students? I ask you a counter question. These students were not agitating and protesting against fee hike. They were not protesting against the admission process, against the JNU administration. What they were demanding was, Bharat, we want to destroy you in pieces. Bharat, till you are destroyed, we will not rest. We will continue to wage war. They were not criticizing and condemning the Afzal Guru's hanging. What they were saying is, those who hanged Afzal Guru are still alive. The judiciary ordered hanging of Afzal Guru. Were they saying for killing of judiciary? And Umar Khalid has been caught. He has in his call record 800 calls which were made to Bangladesh, Kashmir and Gulf countries just before the program. Kanhaiya has admitted that yes, these slogans were shouted and there were certain Kashmiri outsiders who shouted these slogans. The security in JNU has the evidence that these Kashmiri outsiders were brought in by Kanhaiya saying, I am the university president. I ask you to allow these outsiders to enter the premises. 2 videos are there. People say they are doctored. I'm sorry, police has verified them. The first 2 videos are not doctored. Other evidence, the internal security of JNU has told the police that yes, such program was held and such slogans were raised. The proctoral committee of JNU has said such program was held and such slogans were raised. So, raising of slogans, having this gathering is not in dispute at all. Now, they say this was just freedom of expression, freedom of speech. So what? I'm sorry. If you say, I don't like you, if you say, I don't like Mr. Modi, I don't like BJP, I don't like the working of Indian government, I don't like the policy of Indian government, fair enough. That is healthy criticism, healthy condemnation of the government. That is allowed. But if you say that I will burn the country, destroy the country, break it into pieces, we don't have freedom of speech as an absolute freedom. It is subject to public order, morality and law of the land. Then they say, okay, they went too far, but this is not sedition. I'm sorry, it's 100% sedition. Sedition law says, section 124A IPC clearly says, any word, spoken or written, any visible representation, if it incites violence, disorder or lawlessness against a legally elected government, it is sedition. And Supreme Court has extended the definition of sedition in 1962 in the judgment of Kedarnath Singh's case. 7-judge bench of Supreme Court. What do they say? They say any word spoken or written, any visible representation, if they incite or attempt to incite or have tendency to incite or even have intention to incite violence, disorder and lawlessness, that is sedition. So what is sedition will not be told by the news channels who are confusing the issue. What is sedition will be told by the law of the land. I also wonder one thing. People say, he's a poor man. He has a handicapped father. Agreed. He has an Anganwadi mother. Agreed. But I'm sorry. The same set of advocates who appeared for Ishrat Jahan, Yaqub Memon, Afzal Guru, the same set of advocates who don't take less than 5 lakh rupees per hearing, how come the same set of advocates appeared for Kanhaiya also? They will not appear for you and me. How come the same set of advocates? So people like Kanhaiya and others, they are the fronts of a larger Hate India brigade. They are the front of the militant extremist organizations out to destroy the country. So they are not simple students. They are part of that international campaign against India. And I'll say, with all the authority at my command, that gathering was not a student gathering. That gathering consisted of Naxalites, Maoists, extremist Kashmiri elements and the entire Hate India brigade. Thereafter, now they say, okay, only slogans were shouted. In the case of Balwant Singh, after assassination of Indira Gandhi, this case was there. In the case of Balwant Singh, the Supreme Court has said that mere slogan shouting is not sedition. I'm sorry, this was a 2-bench judgment, 2 judges' judgment, which said that Balwant Singh merely said Khalistan Zindabad and there was no response from the public. And he just moved away. He was not leading any procession. So facts are entirely different in this case. Facts were different in Kedarnath Singh's case. In this case, there was not only intention, tendency, attempt to incite violence, violence has been, disorder has been, lawlessness has been incited. Let me give you examples. After JNU incident, clashes took place between protesters in Jammu and Kashmir with the security forces. Those protesters were carrying "Thank you JNU" banners. They were carrying Afzal Guru posters. They were carrying ISIS flags and Pakistani flags and pelting stones at the security forces. Secondly, in Jadavpur University, you see the spiraling effect. It leads to disorder. Jadavpur University, the slogans were shouted. This was a march in favor of Afzal Guru, the terrorist. They hailed him as a martyr. They said, Kashmir bole azadi, Nagaland bole azadi, छीन के लेंगे आजादी, मणिपुर बोले आजादी, गिलानी बोले आजादी, हुर्रियत बोले आजादी. Another disorder. Thereafter in Kashmir University, inside the premises, you see what slogan was said? तुम कितने कन्हैया पकड़ोगे, हर घर से कन्हैया निकलेगा. And then they called them simple, indisciplined students. Whom are they trying to confuse? Situation is extremely alarming in India. They say British government brought in 1870 Sedition Act. IPC was brought by British government. Now you don't use them. That act was against the Indian freedom struggle leaders. Gandhi was booked. Annie Besant was booked. Tilak was booked under this act. Right? But now the situation is so alarming. We don't need to remove the Sedition Act, we need to expand it. Because now we have the Indian Penal Code, but we are having so many new acts to deal with the changed situation. Law is not static. If you see the alarming position in India, in Pampore, Jammu and Kashmir, you saw that 48-hour gun battle of the security forces with the terrorists. Did you see it in television? There were the terrorists hauled up in the building. 48-hour gun battle, 5 of our Jawans died, 2 were captains, 1 Pawan Kumar belonged to JNU, and all the masjids in the vicinity were crying, GA, GA, Pakistan. There was a mob of 400 people behind the army, pelting stones at the army and saying, Bharat teri maut aayi, Lashkar aayi, Lashkar aayi. Have you ever heard? Can you think of such things in any other part of the world, including Gulf countries, Pakistan, America, France? I did not hear. Did you hear in USA after 9/11? They said, America tere tukde honge, inshallah. America तुझे बर्बाद करेंगे. ओसामा हर घर से निकलेगा. न्यू जर्सी, न्यूयॉर्क मांगे आजादी. Did you hear in France after bomb blast and an emergency was declared, not one person opposed the government? What I say is, situation in India is extremely alarming. If these anti-national activities are not curbed in the blood, if they are not stopped immediately, nipped in the bud, they will have spiraling effects in all the states of India, and which will be very, very difficult to control. In the last, I'll say, right to dissent is my right and your right. I was Delhi University Students' Union President. We used to protest against the government. We used to protest on national issues. I myself went to Kashmir in Kashmir Yatra to have Tiranga at the Lal Chowk. But there is some Maryada, there is some Lakshman Rekha. I can't ask for destruction of my country. I can criticize the government, I can criticize the Prime Minister, but you cannot say, I want barbadi of the country. They have gone too far this time. The same people who are taking the cover of freedom of speech, may I ask them, in JNU or in Kerala, when did they allow freedom of speech to others? When did they allow freedom to dissent? Marxists have one ideology: curb, crush and eliminate all opposition. But this time they had the taste of the very nation and the Indian state which they had been challenging all along. So what we say, this is not Pakistan's jungle Raj. We have a nationalist government. I remember when Arundhati Roy spoke about Azad Kashmir, I filed a case against her. Police did not register into FIR. I had to go to the court of law under 156(3) CRPC, file this case before the court saying, please direct the police to lodge FIR. It took about 6 to 8 months to get it lodged because we had UPA government which was soft on terror. But this time, I had tears in my eyes when I came to know within a few hours of this incident, when anti-India, hate India brigade was at its best, police sprung into action and they upheld the rule of law. Now what we can do? What am I doing? I'm coming from Delhi to Kerala to be among my brothers and sisters. Whatever Gilheri Prayas, the squirrel trial I can do, I'm doing. I remember when Ram Setu was being made, this story we've heard for generations, and Bhagwan Ram, Hanuman, Nal, Neel, everybody was there. A small squirrel, a small Gilheri was jumping into the water, coming back on the sand, again jumping, again coming. She was asked, Gilheri, what are you doing? Have you gone mad? She said, I am doing only my Gilheri Prayas. So wherever we stand, wherever we sit, wherever we talk, at least we can do our Gilheri Prayas, which is within our capacity. So in the last, I would like to say, that आज मैंने सूर्य से बस जरा यूं ही कहा, आपके साम्राज्य में इतना अंधेरा क्यों रहा, तमा के वो दहाड़ा मैं अकेला क्या करूं, तुम बेफिक्रों के लिए मैं भला कब तक लड़ूं, आकाश की आराधना के चक्रों में मत पड़ो, संग्राम यह घनघोर है, कुछ मैं लड़ूं कुछ तुम लड़ो। जय हिंद, जय भारत।